Well, hello. I'm probably going to be lonely on this one, and most will probably catch it on the replay. And that's okay, because it's more of a vent session for me. I just keep thinking about the vanishing statements, wandering. I don't believe in magic tricks, and I don't believe in coincidences to certain degrees. And I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated because I believe there are people out there that hold answers and they're not talking. Um, I don't believe that, uh, in the case of Elijah Vu, I don't believe that Jesse Vane did not have known associates in the area that, oh, hello. Hi, Dolores. I don't believe that Jesse doesn't have known associates that partied with him, that engaged in um, illicit drugs with him, and other things that I could speculate on, and don't know what happened. Um, and they're not coming forward. And there's money on the table. There's a lot of money being offered as a reward in that case. And if somebody would just get an attorney, make arrangements, and tell their side of things, he could be brought home. I don't believe that no one knows anything about what happened or where Tamontez Hurt went in Kansas City. I don't believe that nobody knows something. I don't believe that more people beyond the parents don't know what happened to Sebastian Rogers. I believe more people have seen things, know things. We live in, it's 2024. Everything we do in our lives is so electronically connected between uh, surveillance cameras, CCTV, our phones showing us ads based on things they overhear us talking about when we're not even on the phone. Trying to I'm just so frustrated and mad with the additional people that aren't coming forward or saying something or giving something, because these are heavy secrets to bear. And I could think about my own neighborhood, and if I were to go outside at 1 a.m, sure, I might not see anybody, but through the window across the street, I might see the neighbor whose TV is turned up to like 100 with her window open, and she is watching some late night TV show. And so I don't believe that there isn't anybody in their subdivision or the neighboring subdivision in Hendersonville that didn't see anything, because the whole world doesn't stop turning in the middle of the night. There are people who work night shifts. There are people who work at 24-hour convenience stores. I mean, we're just in the digital age. On top of, we're just naturally nosy human beings. Even those of us who try really hard to just mind our own business, we notice things. We just observe things. You live somewhere, you notice things. You know when people's routines are, when they come and go, but, what a pattern is. You know these things. Would it be strange to see, lights on in a house at a certain time of day? People know things. I think about Jesse Vang's apartment where Elijah Vu was. And I know people heard things. I know people saw things. And a man like that who is proud of the things that he does to children, um, you're not quiet about it. And I have no doubt that he considered himself a leader, and maybe he was a leader of something. And I believe there were comings and goings. But these people, all these people who saw something that probably holds the key, besides the the people we think maybe, did it, or in Tamantas Hurt's case, we don't know. There's all these other people who do know something, who have probably seen the flyers, the stories, the recordings, and what do they do? How do you sleep at night with that burden on your shoulders, with that burden on your mind? Thank you, Katie. That's funny. That is so funny because my kids have my mouth, and I appreciate that because I've always been self-conscious about that because I've always, well, in my youth, I was told I had a big mouth. So, and I was quiet then. So, um, so I'm just really frustrated because I feel like these things don't have to be so difficult, and are, there in some of these situations there is reward money, and um it's just, to me, as simple as, if you're worried about yourself and what knowledge you have, why wouldn't you just get an attorney to accompany you? Talk to an attorney, tell him what you know, learn about, um, and have them go in and negotiate so you can, share your knowledge. Because in the end, more than even catching the bad guys, law enforcement wants to find these kids. And especially the law enforcement in, well, I can't say that about Kansas City. I don't think they give a two shits. Um, but in Two Rivers, I can feel the empathy, and the sadness and the sense of failure that they feel there because they have not found Elijah yet. Thank you. Hi, Miss Melody. Thank you, Rhonda. You're so sweet. I I've just been struggling for the past 3 or 4 days. I op 3 hours ago I saw someone on Facebook, talking about TikTok Tony's on, and I'm like, okay, that's bizarre. And I opened my phone. This was like 3, 4 hours later, you know, um, because I watch to see if they are going to spread awareness, share his photos, do the things that, you're supposed to do because you weren't, hired or brought on to um, use Sebastian's name to build your true crime podcast. And it actually, what I saw was that, who was it? Stephen Crabtree was live. And that kind of perked my ears up. I was like, wait a minute, is he like back in entangled with them? Um, and so I just clicked on the Sebastian's Army, and oh, they're still going right now. And it's like they've been going for, I even saw in the comments, people were like, can I get a recap? And they're like, they've been going for 5-6 hours. They're not going to recap anything. Oh my gosh, what am I hearing? Talking about blood, the dogs, um, hitting at the garage. Like, do I believe that they have this information, or do I believe they're probably literally making stuff up? It's horrible. So now, because they have all these people who are just so supportive of them, now you're going to have all these rumors running rampant that there was puddles of Sebastian's blood outside of their house. Um, I'm totally. It is absolutely very disturbing. And if you had asked me 3 years ago, oh well, could Summer Wells have been? Could there have been a sale? Elijah Vu, could there have been a sale? Um, no, I would say no. I don't go down rabbit holes. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Um, but then it hit closer to home. It hit, and I started seeing just in the small communities, in my state, all of the sudden they're making these huge busts, and Tennessee just had a huge bust. And it's just, now you are seeing that the sale is the aspect that, these sales are taking place. It is so realistic. It's so possible. And it might maybe be to law enforcement still, like way further down on the chain of possibilities. Um, but in a case like Summer Wells and Elijah, I absolutely would not take that off the table. You had people with guardianship or care of those children, and have very specific thoughts about those children and children in general, especially the Wells. Sick. Um, and in the Wells case, they had money problems, and Jesse Vang in Elijah's case, greedy. Katrina, the mom, was having financial difficulties. She, there were drug abuse going on. So yeah, I mean, it's not so far-fetched to think that there are sales going on. I mean, I look at um, the the girls from Kingsport. And then I was looking into two girls in Wisconsin, and one of them is a very, very, very cold case now, and her name was Kayla Berg. And the second one um, was Mackenzie Markin. And then they were kind of saying that, well, what if these two are connected to Jamie Kloss? And for those of you who don't know about the Jamie Kloss case, this was a girl who everybody thought like she took out her parents and basically like took off when really she was being held captive. They took her, and in the one case, I looked up the two men who were persons of interest in the Kayla Berg case, and I was just looking at their social media, and I was just like, man, they're just living the good old life. Beautiful girlfriend, beautiful wife, beautiful child. They were young. Then I started thinking about Caleb Harris. I don't know, for some of you, I think Miss Melody did comment. Then I started thinking, gosh, are less people paying attention to Caleb Harris's case because they don't want to as far as like podcasters, creators, certain advocate, that might want to help, are they avoiding his case now because they don't want to deal with Tony? Even though I think that even though Tony says he calls him every morning, I feel like Tony is pretty much, moved on to the next one, because this one's getting him further along in his goals. But I think, I've had a lot of feelings. I mean, I share Caleb's face. I've shared some of my thoughts on his case. But I would be being totally honest in saying I don't know if I want to go head first in his case. Um, if all that negative stuff is attached. Now, I did do some research in Caleb's case, and Tony has touted Nina Glass with regards to Caleb, but really there is another organization in Texas, um, Texar, I think is what it's called, TEXSAAR, I believe. They're the organization that have been heavily involved. Oh, and speaking of Anina, like these people on this TikTok panel, they're going down this road talking about a psychologist, and then a lot of people that joined didn't hear them say the word psychologist, but they heard him talking about all this like Native American stuff, and it was like they kept treading on they were treading lightly around, and then people were commenting that Nina, Chris's ex-wife, is of Native American descent, and her children go to school on Native American reservation property. I about lost my damn mind. I am like, oh no, they are not going here. No, nope. And then they're telling him, oh, you should get all his ex-wives, to talk. And do I think they'd have a story to tell? Absolutely. I don't think it's going to help find Sebastian. But they skate around these um, really odd theories, and I'm going to have to do some research on this geofencing stuff that they were talking about, because they supposedly one person on this panel is a defense attorney. The other one might be like involved with canine and be law enforcement. Um, and the way they were talking about like the geofencing and things like that, I just was like, I don't know. I mean, no, I'm not an expert, but I'd be too embarrassed to tell you on here how many trials I have watched, and how many experts, on cell phone data and CAS data and all that kind of stuff at the FBI level that I know about now. It's kind of probably sad. Hi, Blue Dragonfly. And they were just, I thought that basically, they're saying, well, if, the police just, decide that they're going to draw this triangle, let's say 100 feet around my house, because that's where they think I might be, and I'm on that they can automatically get every single cell phone number that is in that radius down to a 30-foot or less accuracy, every single phone number. And so I got to look into that, because that just, I don't know, because I'm thinking about certain cases. And when they get into the explanations of some of these things, and they're very, very careful with their words, and very careful about explaining the accuracy of the programs they're using and the software. And yeah, that was just really a lot of news to me. It wouldn't help find Sebastian, but if he walked out on his own, it would give us some understanding. And well, I know that, or very early on in this case, I was actually watching a live. It might have been, was it Smiley Story? It might have been Smiley Story. I'm going to have to go into my, I'm working on a top secret project related to this. So not related to the ex-wives, but related to Sebastian's case, because I don't want to put it out piecemeal. I just want to do it right. And unfortunately, some of that takes time, because I also have a whole, I have a job and a family. So, but I think in Smiley's story, let me see. I might be able to go right to the, I think that was the one. And I'm just going to go to the transcript. Yes, it was. Damn, I got a good memory here. So, in the Smiley Story interview, which took place on March 20th, somebody was in the chat. And so Smiley talked about it and said, but they keep saying, who's Rachel? So do you want to answer that before you tell them to? And he said, okay, so I got no problem. Rachel's my third me. I didn't know about Rachel. So no. Here, I'll make this easy for you. I've been married 5 times. I'm on my 5th wife. And she's going to say you're final. So let me make that clear. She's probably going to yell at me later that I didn't say final, but I've been married 5 times. There was Vanessa, Stephanie, Rachel, Nina, and Katie. So Rachel was the 4th wife, and she kept pushing, like, what's the story about Rachel? And they skipped past it. And I think this might have come up in another interview. So I think somebody was in a second chat, and it might have been a T-Rev chat, where they were talking about, like, how come she was just, like, covered in blood? You left her covered in blood, and, her face and all of these things. And he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. But somebody in the chat must have been, maybe a close friend or relative of this Rachel, because they were like, he's trying to play, Mr. Perfect. And they were just like, no. Well, I'm not, to be fair, it would have been, T-Rev or like the other one, because I'm just saying, like, I've never watched, other than, I watched a couple searches Terry Lynn did, but that would have been in the past couple weeks. And the, the recorded phone call I did. Yeah, the recorded phone call, I've listened to that, but I've not watched, like, so I wouldn't have heard it there. But it's possible that this person, was going into numerous chats trying to get people to call him out on what he did in this incident with Rachel. I don't think Sebastian wanted to go to Seth's, and also feel Seth was hoping Sebastian being missing would bring Katie back to him, and his plan backfired. I don't think Seth took his son, even though I'm, like, really highly upset with Seth right now, because today I discovered he these nasty comments about canine Jules. Jules and her canines. Apparently, he was posting this in, I thought it was just my, thing that I had, but no, he was going on to other channels doing the same thing. So it really started a back and forth, and it was very frustrating. Well, it is clear to me that Seth is not over Katie, which is odd to me, because I do understand that when you are in an abusive relationship, you can still feel love for your abuser. But in most cases, after you've been away from the abusive relationship and a significant amount of time has passed, usually the love side of things fades. and it's really, hi, Siobhan. And so that's interesting. Oh God, I hope it was not the autistic boy. I was just sharing him just a few hours ago. I know it was a rescue that turned bad, is my understanding. That I surely, please don't. Christopher Frankenberry. I hope it's not, because at some point earlier, the mother, boy, this was just this evening. I had seen it, but it was, hours earlier, that the mother had said, someone like mistyped what they were saying. They were trying to say prayers that he's found, and it just said prayers he's found. And they were like, nope, 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 no, 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 he was not found. Please keep sharing it. Please keep sharing it. Let me see what I'm seeing here. Assigned to a water rescue operation shortly before 2:45. It ended up being a recovery. A 911 caller reported seeing a body of a person who is beyond help floating in the river, but the water carried the person swiftly along the Cumberland River. As a result, personnel reportedly had to use the What Three Words app to keep updating the body's location until he recovered it. The scene is set to be turned over to the Metro Nashville Police Department. No additional details have been released about this incident, including the exact locations of where the body was spotted and where it was recovered. Yes, Christopher Frankenberry is the boy. I think he's more like a young man. Because now that I think about it, I don't believe that they had his age on anything that I shared. Wait. Oh, no. No way. Oh, wow. Oh, no, this is sad. Katie, this is funny. What Three Words app is it's funny you say that, and it's funny that I just read that, because I just recently started trying to use it in like in these situations of some of these cases, and I'm still trying to figure out how to use it properly. It is it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like where you can type in like 3 words, and it's supposed to hone in on a location. And so I was kind of, but who made it? It was like another country. I think it was made out of another country. Every 3-meter square of the world was given a, oh wait, no, I'm thinking about a different thing, but I did try the What Three Words. So what this company did is every 3 square meters, they assigned certain words to these every, and apparently it's like they mapped like the whole world. Street addresses aren't accurate enough to specify precise locations. It makes it hard to find places and prevents people from describing where help is needed in an emergency. That's why we created What Three Words. We divided the world into 3-meter squares and gave each square a unique combination of 3 words. It's the easiest way to find and share exact locations. And so some examples, like one is rocks, pencil, label, voice, gifted, agree. And I think maybe when I looked into that one, what I think I figured out is that makes a whole lot more sense if you are in law enforcement or like a firefighter. So it just didn't seem like very conducive. But this, no, it's not geofencing. I think it's like, instead of like just giving someone your coordinates, your latitude, longitude, you can, these What Three Words are extremely specific within 3-meter segments. So if one law enforcement agency communicated to another law enforcement, like FBI to the sheriff or the sheriff to the FBI, they might know exactly, what door at Yankee Stadium the suspected, I don't want to say, robber ran out. I don't want to say the other word and get throttled by YouTube. So Christopher Frankenberry, so no, he was not found safe now, but this is a pattern. So January 10th of this year, he was found and reunited with his family. November 30th, 2023. January 10th, November 30th. So he is autistic. He is autistic and he has a heart condition. So you can only imagine the terror when he disappears. I mean, he could, he sounds, on the one hand, he sounds like he could be a runner. But on the other side of things, depending on, his condition and the, what they're saying might happen as a result of the heart condition, he could be in some severe mental distress and going through like a real crisis. He was last seen, let me get the name of it. I had it on my, what in
Your eyes closed. I was surprised.
Oh, I don't know. Random shorts just started popping up. So oh, jeez. Good, jeez Louise. Okay. Let's see. What was the name of the medical facility? Centennial Medical Center, Nashville, was when he was last seen, and that was the 31st. So it is, and it's just, I I guess until Sebastian's case, I may have not realized, how many autistic children, do go missing. But it's like Tennessee, man. I don't even, it's like in Tamantas Hurd's case, it's like of all the places you could go missing, Kansas City, like it might as well have been New York City, Chicago, just, um, but in Tennessee, I mean, it's like you have subdivisions, you have country, you just have, you have the tourist side of things, you have the waterfront, the mountain, you just have so many diverse types of properties. Then you have city type properties. Um, and, one of the problems to me that I think needs to change in every single state across the board is I do not believe that when teenagers or adults go missing, but if you got to go with the bare minimum, I would say when teenagers go missing, um, it's unless there's some serious indication of mental distress or foul play, they consider them a runaway. And sometimes they don't change their mind on that for months, or weeks, and then it's too late. Like, I think any of us who have, um, you know, we all know like how important the first 48 to 72 hours are. Um, and, when teenagers go missing, and then I just look and I see like, you know, in my state, all these like beautiful teenage girls, and they're just all missing. And I'm just like, they could all be being trafficked. And like, is anybody paying attention here? Oh no, they must have just ran away to their friend's house. Um, or to me, even if they did run away and the police heard, well, yeah, they've ran away 10 times. Well, then maybe you need to figure out why somebody is running away, because most kids don't repetitively run away unless something is going on in their home. Something bad is probably going on in their life. Not, and it doesn't always mean it's the parents. It could be, an abusive or manipulative boyfriend or girlfriend. They could be using substances, but when they don't take, in general, they do not um, take teenagers being missing seriously quick enough. And I would bet there are statistics that would show that their recovery rate of teenagers is probably less. And it's probably even further less, for adults. And you take the Tara Jane Sullivan case that I've been sharing, she's, in her 40s, and, okay, car went through the garage, then the cell phone's ditched, then the car is ditched, quite a distance from one another, but heading straight towards, either Shawano, or if they kept going, because that's where her car was, it would hit Green Bay. I mean, yeah, no, not a chance in the world that she was abducted and taken there. Like, for me, that was where my brain went. Like, she could be in Green Bay. But did anybody consider what most people go down the highway that her phone was found off of, that her vehicle was found off of? The majority of the people that drive in that direction are going to Green Bay. Did anybody consider that the person, because I believe she didn't leave under crisis and drive through her garage door, um, did anybody think to consider and contact law enforcement in Green Bay And I don't think so. I can't even find family members sharing or asking or anything, so you're an adult or a teenager and you go missing, short of maybe having a severe medical condition or special needs, or clear signs that you were harmed, you are a back burner. Think about if Stephen Stearns hadn't been just so bad at being a criminal. In most cases, could have just said, well, she ran away. Well, in her diary, she said, when she was 13, she wanted to run away and go live in the woods. So everybody would have been like, oh, let's go check the woods. And then after that, they probably all would have just, oh, she ran away. She didn't want to be here. When really, none of us can even probably begin to imagine what that poor girl went through. And I am grateful for the efforts of law enforcement in that case, that they were able to, get him locked up and, on one thing and then focus on the other things. But yeah, it's, is the angel's sense, is that like, is that like maybe like kind of like a life alert type thing or a tracking thing? Yeah, I agree. It's beyond me how it can even happen with the digital age that we live in. If you're still here, true crime knitter, I'm curious about what the angel sense is. Sure. Can you take the buns off the stove, though, and set them on the kitchen table? I'm going to look it up. What? Huh? A different what? Oh. Yeah, they can't even see this one. Green means it's unmuted. Red means it's muted, not paused. So Angel Sense is a wearable GPS device, and then they have the watch, and it has an embedded SIM card, charging cable, and I'm showing this because some of you may not have heard about this technology, and if you have a loved one with autism, or maybe just, a 16-year-old teenager that you want to keep track of, sassing my son right now. It has real-time GPS tracking, unlimited guardians, alerts, and geofences. Live safe or live safe ride transit tracking, detailed timeline history for each day, customer support by special needs parents, embedded 4G SIM, all premium safety and well-being features, free personalized onboarding call. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. I mean, I would think any parent would want this, even if their child didn't have special needs. I mean, when we live in a world like we do right now, yeah, I can relate. Um, Boy, this is like, because I have looked at, I know about like air tags and, um, I've thought about cell phones. I'm just like, I just have a beautiful daughter and, sending her off, to school, and you worry about, the things that happened, and, you just worry about the what ifs, and, you know, a cell phone just doesn't seem good enough. But that should be like, I mean, just like widely marketed to any parent. Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. I think so. I think I've seen everything. Yeah. Yes, and I think you mentioned this. I don't know if it was in a live or if it was after a live, and in the comments you kind of touched on some of this. Um, I mean, but additionally, when you do have like, a parent with a child, and you're in a domestic situation, and you're going to flee the domestic situation. One of the big concerns is my kid going to be at school? Are they going to show up outside their school and try to pick them up and take them home? Well, I mean, that's the thing. They're too expensive, but I mean, if you can sell them, if you could sell them more, you know, but if you had more people buying it, it should drive the price down. Well, no, not everybody would want, you know, want to be tracked and wouldn't want to attach that to their child. It makes a lot of sense for a special needs situation, and it makes sense to me though for also for little ones. So um, it does make sense to me, because when they're not at maybe the age of being able to make a call or defend themselves. I'm talking like you're 3, you're 4, you're 5. Um, or you're at Disney World or a big amusement park, or if you're in a mall, people lose their kids in the mall. I mean, no, I mean, like my son's 16 right now. I think he'd have a nervous breakdown if I tried to do anything more than Life 360. um, and that he is well aware how to disable. um, huh. Yeah, I mean, well, and I think about where I live, and there are people who, if they live in a certain area, um, or their kid is even in like middle school, sixth grade, seventh grade, um, they have to take public city buses, not your yellow school buses. And, some parents don't have a choice. But I mean, I would lose my mind if I had to put my kid on um, a city bus. you know, um, but everybody is different, and everybody, you know, has different life experiences, and um, yeah, that's terrible. Well, especially in certain cases where somebody might be special needs, and even for like maybe somebody who's elderly in like a nursing home situation, um, that you want to make sure that um, your loved one or child is being taken care of appropriately, because they are, the elderly and dementia patients and special needs. They're just more. It's more likely for something to happen to them, or something for them to be taken advantage of. I know that when my grandfather was in a memory care facility, um, he went in there before COVID, um, and every time we went in there, it just seemed awesome. And but then after COVID hit, we had to visit through a wrought iron fence if it was outside, or through the glass vestibule at the opening of the facility, and he'd have to call. But he could barely, I mean, get out a sentence or two, and then he would just hang up the phone. And then I would have to call, the front desk, and they'd have to go and pick up the phone again and give it to him. Um, but then, so we did the vestibule for a while, and then eventually it was okay to do through the wrought iron fence outside. And when they would bring him out, I started noticing like his dress pants, because he would always wear dress slacks, and his shoes, they were just filthy, just caked on food, and his hair looked extra oily and greasy, and um, his fingernails looked dirty. And that just was not the case when we were able to go 2-3 times a week into the facility. So it definitely made me worry about, accountability, and, um, what happens, in some places when, you know, to the people whose loved ones don't visit often, um, or you have someone who's not in a position where they can, they don't have cognitive awareness to explain something that might be happening to them. Um, for veterans who maybe elderly, there's a free program called Honor Alert. I live alone, so I have one. Interesting. That's really, really cool. Um, Honor Alert for elderly veterans, maybe even disabled veterans, I wonder. Um, they are about an hour from me, breaking ground on the first, in our area, at least in our state, of a tiny home village of the tiny houses for veterans. And it's going to be, I saw the design. It looks like a neighborhood, and it's got like these, small tiny homes. And then they have like the sidewalks all kind of go to the middle, and those are for veterans. And in most cases, I think it's meant to be like at least somewhere for them to be, to transition to whatever the next step is going to be. Yeah, and we had, when my grandfather was still living in his home, there was the life alert. But, in that case, sometimes it was, activated and everybody's calling and driving and running, and it was nothing. But 10. But then there was a time, well, before he had the life alert, where he would go to this same forest preserve to walk his dog. And he just, at that point, his mind was getting worse. And he just kind of, I think, wandered off the path and was lost. And, they had to bring in helicopters and drones and search teams and all of that. It was terrifying. And eventually they found him. But it was quite a lot of time went by. And it was very scary. And they found him because of his dog. Because our dogs are so smart. And, his dog stayed with him. But I don't know if he, would have been found if his dog hadn't been there, or at least not alive. So, yeah, it's terrible that some of these technologies are so expensive, and I understand they're expensive to develop and research and then put on the market and then patent them. And I just, there's just like, well, what can we do to, try to prevent some of these things? But I wouldn't care if anybody judged me if I bought a watch for my daughter. She's, I think it would be more complicated to give her a cell phone at her age to try to have to call and figure out help. And, a watch or something that is like attached to her. If they're in danger, it's probably on their person longer versus if they had a cell phone in their backpack. The backpack could get left behind. So even if you had like an air tag or something like that, that would, not matter if the backpack is chucked. But, it was like a month and a half ago, I watched a guy try to lure my neighbor across the street's 2 kids. And I called the police, and they arrested him, and it was terrifying, but I was not leaving until the police came. Well, and I mean, I just, 3-year-olds, to think a 3-year-old, and who could be, in severe distress or trouble or possibly, taken, to think that they're going to have the mindset to go in a backpack, pull out their phone and, you know, I don't know. Um, like I said, my 16-year-old probably wouldn't have it. But I care more about, I have more concerns, not so much concerns about much of anything other than, you know, being safe in a vehicle, that's that age you start really worrying like about, are my kids driving safe? Are they, screwing around while they're driving? Are they speeding? Are they wearing seatbelts? Are they, getting in a car with their friend who is impaired? Yeah, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you know, like, and my daughter could probably look at my phone and navigate to possibly call me, and she's 5, but in a uh, panicked situation, I don't know. And I do know they have like big button generic things, but at that age, um, yeah, this angel sense thing seems pretty amazing because at that age, I don't think they one are aware that you know like my son would be like, Mom, get out of my business. Why are you stalking me? But like, my daughter probably wouldn't be the wiser, but she's also, I've tried to educate her on things. So, um, she's aware of strangers and, um, you know, of things that don't look right and things like that. And, um, so I wouldn't have a problem telling her what it was, but they might tell the wrong person what it is too, Um, but no, I wouldn't feel guilt at all for putting that on my youngest. No way. Um, Not at all. Been there, done that, didn't have it, and I'm a lucky one. So I wouldn't, if I had had that then, um, I might have had a rough few minutes um, or an hour, but it would have helped. Oh, it shows the speed in the vehicle. Interesting. Um, I mean, I'm not really talking about like intelligence. I have an incredibly intelligent daughter, which is why I'm thankful that I'm able to openly educate her and talk to her about things without getting, her without her turning into a worry wart or feeling uncomfortable about people and taking away the enjoyment of life. Um, she's not like super sheltered. She's a very social, happy, awesome girl and she's incredibly smart. I just don't know, in my case, I don't think that, even if she had a phone in her backpack, I don't think, that she would probably, you know, think, okay, I'm in this, really sticky spot. I need to get in my backpack and find my phone. But she would scream, she would run, she would fight back. I know that much. I don't doubt that. They are. They are. Um, but I do think this angel sense offers a lot more information than a cell phone would. And, the parent would have access to this angel sense information immediately, versus, trying to go through law enforcement to get, you know, the carrier to do things for you. And, that could take longer, if you're in a major situation, um, and you need to direct law enforcement somewhere, you could probably do it faster than even maybe, if they had to go through the cell phone. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I know that this kind of teeters into, a lot of people, it's one of those almost like religion, politics, one of those things, is there too much technology, not enough technology? When are we crossing the line? And I'm not trying to go there or anything, but I don't think I would have a problem getting that for my daughter. And I would imagine, especially if you have special needs and or were disabled, or even someone with dementia, something like that would be amazing. And super small children. Um, yeah. I don't know. $500 a year sounds like a lot to me. But, you know, uh, that's just because it's all, it's a full year out, yeah, if you divide it by 12, yeah, that is what you'd be paying for a cell phone service anyway. And you would get less information out of it in emergency situations than a cell phone. Yeah, they have a $64.99 a month-to-month contract, a $44.99 a month if you pay for the full year up front, and then a monthly plan with a 1-year contract at $49.99 a month. So they do have a variety of ways to pay for it. So I don't know. I think it could be an amazing tool for a lot of people, and for when we're talking about our children, I mean, I don't know. I would do anything. So, but if we had these on like Elijah Vu or Sebastian, at least in their cases, we may have more information. I don't know. But I guess if you were considerate enough to put one of those on, in Sebastian's case, I have a feeling it might be, have been left behind like everything else was. And in Elijah's case, they probably would have considered it a toy and taken it away. So maybe not in their cases, but yeah. Anyways, like that, my whole point, tonight was I just was trying to vent a little bit. I'm very frustrated. Had a lot of feelings of feeling pretty helpless about what could get anybody to be pushed to a place where they would speak. No, I left 2 messages, but then I realized the weekend is usually when she goes to Kansas City, and the voicemail is always full. So I always call it, and then send a text. And so she called me Thursday was when I missed her call, and I just sometimes I keep my phone like if I'm doing my regular work job, I don't have my ringer on because it startles me and distracts me. So yeah, I didn't hear back from her this weekend. I'm sure, I'm sure she will connect, but it's probably kind of an okay thing because I ended up coming up with a few more questions that I had. And, I did come up with a couple plans of action that, as far as I think I'm just going to begin sending his flyer to emergency rooms myself. I don't know, I guess I don't really need somebody to tell me that that's okay to do. I'm sure they'd be happy for somebody to do it. So I just kind of thought about that earlier today. Like maybe I'm just going to do that. And, um, well, the thing with Elijah Vu is, the difference, I think, is in most of the groups, and number one, law enforcement gives frequent updates and they're about as informed as you can possibly get. They're as transparent as they can be without going overboard. I have shown, some of those press conferences, and I am showing the hearings. And at this point, the searches continue, all in law enforcement, volunteers. There are multiple organizations that are advising. They're using, now that the weather's getting better, it's making searching easier, in some of the places that they had to navigate. And there is something I want to show you guys, though, in regards to that. That was really annoying because I thought it was done and over with, and then I saw it again. But I actually most recently had asked them about certain areas near. Just a second. I had, what I was trying to find out is if they felt the area around where the blanket was found had been searched thoroughly. Because there are certain people with the families and like heads of different search teams, and law enforcement is also directly communicating with those teams. So I'm trying to find out if they feel like the blanket, the vicinity of the blanket was well covered. They also had done a landfill search in that case. And that, I believe, even though it's very far away, is where the trash would have went from Two Rivers. But they, as far as I could tell, they have not come directly out and said that the dinosaur shoe that was found some time ago, if in fact that was his. But I believe that shoe might have been what led them. Oh, I know I saved this. Come on. I could have saved it on Facebook. But there's a vehicle, and the vehicle was alleged to be a neighbor's, and they were asking people and they gave a link to upload video footage of within a certain window of any footage that might have included this vehicle, which was not owned by Katrina or Jesse. And then it was alleged that it was actually the neighbors, which is where I go with, people not talking, but I saw this today because I'm all over, the Elijah Vu case, and I'm trying to figure out where might be the next best place, the most valuable places to look next, put it that way. And oh man, this just made me so angry. I thought thought we were done. Thought we were done with this nonsense. But we weren't. No, I want to open this in a new tab. And all right, guys. Well, the most recent update on Elijah is I actually have that press release because I believe it just was one. Let me see if I have it here because I just. Oh, man. Okay. All right. Oh, wait, that was May 7th. No, they're just still talking about essentially where they're searching. They have not. I mean, other than keeping people updated, really on the actual search efforts. They said they're still getting tips, but they're getting less tips. They're following all of the tips. And, that's obviously not talking about like the case situation. So there really isn't an update other than they're still aggressive search efforts by law enforcement that are happening with more than just local and state. I mean, huge search efforts and huge volunteer search efforts. Um, and for those of you who didn't know, I did show it the other day. Two Rivers is along Lake Michigan, and you might as well be looking out at an ocean. So we do, I've been, streaming the court stuff. And I do have that in my Elijah Boot playlist, but I think Jesse Bang waived his, no, he did want a speedy trial, I believe. And Katrina has another status conference because in later in June, because her attorney felt like she didn't have enough information. Yes, Miss Melody, this is what I'm saying, okay? I'm like, no. Do you see this? Yes. Again, here she is again. Search and Rescue, SATX, Nina Glass, again, Wisconsin. Where's the other one? And this is whoever posted it. Crime and Missing. Hi, y'all. Nina will be managing this remotely, so y'all can have an organized search and rescue, boots on the ground there. This was the first one I saw. And then the other one, I saw it again posted recently, because when I saw this one posted, I reached out to Katrina's mother, Elijah's maternal grandma, and immediately warned her. And she was just not in any way, shape, or form interested in connecting with this organization. She has full faith and trust in law enforcement that they're doing a good job. And I would say, with the exception of a handful of people here and there that maybe are just, really into the true crime side of it and really just want to try to stir it up to make it like a Sebastian Rogers situation with the drama. I would say 90% of the focus still is heavily involved around discussions of the actual searches, maps, discussing pin drops of where's been searched. Everybody's really helpful, talking about, yes, we felt we cleared this area. We're going to move. We think this would be a good area. So it's a very resourceful, focused situation. But unfortunately, when you're dealing with a tiny 3-year-old, it's, talk about a needle in a haystack. I mean, he's tiny. And I have not, in my mind, ruled out, that he wasn't taken out of the area. And I just don't know. You want to try to do certain things with reason, and but law enforcement has been encouraging anybody that wants to help. Just don't go on private property without permission. It's that simple. Hello. You know, I'm not going to say that there are, aren't quote unquote criminals, maybe like people who have, things in their background who can't, are unredeemable or things like that. But I think you have to draw the line, when it comes to violent felonies, history of, SA, and if, I don't know. I think you just have to have some boundaries. You just have to have some boundaries. Because as we see in the case of Sebastian, when people, especially violent crimes towards children, I think, you see in the case of Sebastian that, there just isn't, and I was thinking, I don't mind having some of the private conversations that I have with people on some of these cases. And it might not be as entertaining to subscribers if there's not, if everybody isn't always thrown up on a panel. I understand that that's a better way to connect with people. But at the same time, when you look at a case like Sebastian and what this social media platform and the TikTok platform can do to families, and what can happen with the public. I think you have to have some interest in protecting and not wanting, like, I was thinking about Tamanta's grandma, and I'm just like, how important I think it would be for everybody to connect with her and hear from her. And I think she's a real smart lady, and I think she would be fine. But there's other people where, I think if they jumped up on there, and then other creators start reaching out, and then next thing you know, it could end up just like Sebastian's case. And it's a shit show, and it's awful. And that reminds me, I had a few people who had asked me in comments, and I couldn't tell for sure if they mean like TikTok or if they mean like YouTube panels. And they were asking, do these people get paid to be on these panels? And initially, my thought process would, in most cases, be no. Well, obviously, they make money when they're on, TikTok, and the host of the podcast or platform, could make a few cents, whatever. But interestingly enough, I was looking for two different, very specific types of people to talk about two specific subject matters. And one of the places I was looking was in two specific but related areas of Reddit. Big mistake. Big mistake. We'll never, ever do that again, because I'm thinking I'm engaging like with, some, appropriate people, and they're just like, and how much? What are we getting? And then I started thinking like, I don't know, maybe some of those people are paid to be on those panels. I have no idea. I don't think, in most cases that it would be appropriate, because, it could incentivize somebody to, be biased, I guess, in some way or another. So I personally wouldn't think, at least in the case of a missing person situation, that would be appropriate. But that's just me. But yes, she is at it again. And I think one of the guys on this TikTok panel, based on what I saw on like all the videos he posts, I was seeing a lot of videos and images related to like a couple different state patrols and canines. And then I thought, is this the potential canine person that they're trying to bring in? I don't know. Well, yeah, her local law enforcement knows about this. She had people write letters about how amazing she was, and that she should be able to kind of skirt around her probation. And the judge just bought it completely. So, but yeah, I'm getting really tired now. So I am definitely going to be done for the night. But Joseph, yes, the other teen missing in Nashville is Christopher Frankenberry, autistic, as well as he has a heart condition. And he was last seen at Centennial Medical Center in Nashville. And based on news, this has happened a few times before in the past 9 months. And so I don't know, he might be in a crisis. It's really hard to say. But yeah, I think I did a short under my shorts tab with the information on him being missing. So yes, he's missing. And actually, there's been a lot of autistic children that have gone missing in Tennessee. You know, most have been found. So that's the positive. Makes you wonder, though. These other kids get found, that just took off. But yeah, not Sebastian. So, yeah, it's just a frustrating time. And so tonight I'm just going to try to get sleep, and I'm just going to wake up tomorrow and hope that some of these people with the heavy information and secrets that are weighing on their chests in these cases, even if it's as small as a piece of video footage or an observation, I'm just going to hope that some people just start being brave and coming forward, because we need information in these cases. We need more information. The parents can talk all they want. The other two are in jail. In Tavanta's case, I like I said at the beginning, these people didn't vanish. They didn't vanish. Nothing would convince me of that. I don't believe anybody vanishes. So, unless, it's Harry Potter, So, you're at the end, Dr. Sue. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's super late. Wasn't going to even be on, and here I am, hour and 40 minutes in. Hey, but it's shorter than the 9 hour TikTok they were doing. So, can't do that. Got a whole big Monday ahead of me. So, thank you, though, for those of you guys that did tune in. I thought I'd be talking to myself all night. I appreciate you guys as always, and stay tuned. On the Sebastian case, I am trying to go at some stuff from a different angle. And I'm hoping that it can bear some form of fruit. So stay tuned on that. But in the meantime, if you can just please continue to share their faces and spread the awareness. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I hope you have a great start to your week tomorrow. Have a good night.